So much to unwrap in this. The long and the short of it, guys. 27-24 Seattle in another classic, in another weird one. Seattle beats Rodgers again. Let's hear from the winning quarterback, Nate's guy, Russell Wilson.
Well, we were very confident. We were very confident what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. One of the things that, we talked about this week and, I kind of brought to the guys is, we got to think big. We got to believe big. We got to believe that great things are going to happen. We've been through the fire this season. We've, had some amazing games against some tough teams and back and forth. Rams last week, Rams twice this year, down to the wire. Chargers, we've had some amazing games, going back and forth. And, we're a young team, but a team that has great faith in what we're doing.
Looking good, feeling good. Russell Wilson gets a win. This team has kept it close all season long, but let's take a look at a close NFC playoff picture. Schrags, what sticks out to you?
Seahawks are right back on the top there in the hunt. They might not beat the Rams in the division with 2 losses to them, but they are lingering, and the Vikings have some very tough games coming up. Seahawks, new life. Packers, it gets a lot more difficult from here on out.
And Good Morning Football's here for the next 3 hours to preview all of those matchups, NFC, AFC, as we kick off Week 11. We did that just last night, and the Seahawks, they came back. They were down 14-3, you guys. In the first quarter, they trailed, even in the fourth, and somehow they made it happen. Russell Wilson leading his team on his 21st game-winning drive. What stood out to us? Before I know we're going to talk Packers here.
Yeah.
I mean, what a job by the Seahawks at home.
No question. Russell Wilson came to play, and that defense made plays at the right time. And just being at home and being down, like you said, that says a lot about this team. Everybody was ready to close the closet door on these guys. They said, wait a minute. We're not done. We're still here at the party.
We'll be talking Seahawks all show long, giving them their credit, what it means for them down the stretch, especially in that division with the Rams. What stood out to you after last night, Schrags?
It's one of those games, Kay, where on paper you say Rodgers did everything he possibly could, and the Packers had guys that stepped up, and yet for the 5th time this season they couldn't win on the road, and for the 5th time this season it feels like the game should have been theirs. And what stands out to me, late game decision making. Let's go to 3rd and 2. Aaron Rodgers. Now look, the time in this one, there's still about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, okay? But that's an incomplete. 3rd and 2, that should have been a complete. And Rodgers, after the game, to Kyle's point, said 100 out of 100 times I hit Valdez-Scantling on that one. So that one's on Rodgers. And you have to wonder, what do you do here? Because it's not a slam dunk. It's not a slam dunk when you're trailing by 3 points in the 4th quarter on the road to say, oh, we got to go for it. But when you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback and you are converting, and you're Mike McCarthy, whose seat might be getting a little hotter and hotter, what would you do? Would you go for it with Aaron Rodgers 4th and 2? Let's see what McCarthy did on 4th and 2, the very next play. Punt the ball away.
Played it safe.
Played it safe. And if you guys didn't see the end of the game, the Packers would never see the ball again. Seahawks would convert on 3 different conversions, a 2nd and 6, a 2nd and 6, and they put the game away on a 3rd and 12 with a knee from Russell Wilson. And I'm left thinking, what could have been? What is one thing if Ty Montgomery stays in the end zone and they don't get a shot. It's another thing if Aaron Jones fumbles the ball in New England, you say, what could have been? I almost wish they just rolled the dice and said, season on the line. Let's throw away the binder. In New York, they say Joe Girardi used to always consult a binder, and it got annoying. Get away with the play chart and what you're supposed to do. Let Aaron Rodgers win you the game. They didn't, and now they're 4-5. And honestly, Mike McCarthy's seat was hot coming in. Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback in the prime of his career, playing amazing. Got to get some of these wins.
Is it hot this morning? No?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Not for right now.
Not
but
right
at the end
now.
of the season,
It's scorching. And this was incredible how this played out given the context of our show this week. And we've been talking about, do we make excuses for Rodgers? We say he's so great, but he doesn't win. I said yesterday, show me the huge mistake that he makes to lose the game. He wasn't perfect last night. He should have hit that throw. He took some sacks, but he was fantastic, fantastic. And Peter, it's enough for you or me to say you got to go for it. Sherman Williams on the Packers after the game is sitting there hitting the table saying, I want to go for it. We've got Aaron Rodgers. Those are the defensive guys who are always like, put it in our hands. Mike McCarthy is saying, well, we got to play the numbers. Play number 12. It's 2 yards. Do boldly what you do at all here. I'm so frustrated because, Kate, we had another Rembrandt from Rodgers and another loss.
Yeah.
Story of his career is going to be in Canton, Ohio. We're going to show some great highlights and terrible losses.
Let's take a look at this Rembrandt, right? You're talking about late decision making. I feel like we are wasting the prime that is Aaron Rodgers because he can still do it. That play was brilliant. Let's take a look at the first career catch by Tonyan out there, right? 54-yard reception. Can we take a look at it, please?
Let's see.
Let's do it. It was last night. You
fantastic.
saw it in the highlight, but it was awesome. So let's see here. No, I guess we don't have it. Oh.
I love the play.
We don't have it, but it was
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you see something like that, and you see us in the prime. Where are the trick plays? Where are the creativity? The Green Bay Packers have just refused to evolve with the rest of the league. Like, the league has changed. I'd like to see them do that. Then again, I don't want to place all the blame on the coaching, because on 3rd and 2, you wouldn't have to punt or be faced with that decision if he makes that gimme.
You know, for me, last night was a reminder that Aaron Rodgers is the best passer I've ever seen. Yesterday on the show, I said nobody places balls on receivers' bodies like Aaron Rodgers. Pinpoint accuracy, whether he's sitting in the pocket or he's outside the pocket like we saw on that play to Tanya. But sitting here today, looking at my Twitter last night, looking at my Twitter this morning, there's also a reminder that we have too many Aaron Rodgers apologists, too many excuses for this man. He's making a ton of money. He has never went to the squad and say, I need you to give me short change because I want the team around me to be so much better. So my question is, why are we shortchanging the coaching staff? Why are we shortchanging the players? Why are we shortchanging the defense? And why are we shortchanging his mistakes? This isn't a shot to the Packers fans. This isn't a shot to Aaron Rodgers. Everybody was hitting me up on Twitter saying, Nate, how do you feel now? How do you feel now? Aaron Rodgers is lighting up your quarterback. First of all, Russell Wilson is not my quarterback. I never played with Russell Wilson. I was just plainly saying that these guys are great. And if you look at the second half, I didn't hop back on Twitter and say, how do you like me now? No. Russell Wilson just proved to be what I said he was.
So
and
are we here
clutch.
the day after, the three of us making excuses for Rodgers again?
You guys are, and I feel like fans are, and we're sitting there saying,
Go
well,
win that game. If you're so good, Aaron Rodgers,
we
go
need
find
more
a way.
creativity.
He gets paid to do it.
We need more creativity. We need his coach to step up. Or we just need Aaron Rodgers to make one more play than Russell Wilson.
You know what I have a problem with, Nate? Russell Wilson was not good in the first half. He was terrible, actually, sloppy. And that they still win.
He was phenomenal in the second half, though.
But Rodgers was phenomenal for the whole game. I look at that throw to Valdez-Scantling. It's like a guy who has 48 points and misses a big free throw at the end. If he doesn't have the 48, they lose by 20. Like, he will. If he had Wilson's first half, they would have lost by 3 touchdowns. That's the burden of Rodgers. He's spectacular, makes one bad play, and they lose.
He also has held this organization by their throat and said, pay me as much money as I want.
How much money does Russ
Which
make?
sometimes that puts your team in a position.
What do you want him to do? He's the best player in the universe. He should take some pay cut.
Did I say he was wrong for that?
No, you're saying
every-
that hurts the team.
But
That hurts the
all
team
he has
sometimes.
is Devontae Adams.
We talk about this all the time.
Or the defense.
Russell Wilson is dealing with that at this time because he's asked for so much money that the people around him might not be the best players for winning big games. I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers isn't good. He is phenomenal. I just say he's the best passer I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. I'm just saying stop making excuses. He took the L, let him hold the L. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks played a better game in the second half than the Packers.
And they got the win. We'll be breaking it down all show long. Heated.
I like heated Burleson. We only get it like once a month.
It's true.
He's not wrong.
I mean, I could
I'd say
probably
he is,
contend that.
but
We can talk about this all day long.
Let's talk about it for 3 hours.
We will.
Okay.
Coming up next, the Eagles desperately need
And the best scout team wide receiver. They feel like they're pretty deep on the offensive side of the ball, but to the defensive side of the ball that has to stop them with the Philadelphia Eagles. I talked to defensive lineman Brandon Graham yesterday who told me getting Timmy Jernigan back, who has not played a snap this season, changes what they do up front. He said it makes them more versatile up front. Everybody can go back to playing where they always play. And he also said the energy that Tim Jernigan brings up front is something they're going to need to get after Drew Brees. And I asked him, if you hit Drew Brees, is he just like every other quarterback? He said, no. Drew Brees, K, is not just like every other quarterback.
He certainly is not. He's got an MVP campaign going on his own. It is time for a Mad Minute, gentlemen. I've got some Mad Minutos in my hand, and let us begin with the Eagles and that game, heading to the Dome to take on Drew Brees and company, a red-hot team that's won 8 straight. Nate, what are you looking for in this game?
Yeah, listen to that report and Brandon Graham talking about Drew Brees saying he's not just your average quarterback. He isn't. I've seen him firsthand take a hit, dust himself off, look at the blood, and then torch my team. And he'll do that with the back end of this defense. I don't care how many times you get to him or hit him or collapse the pocket. You better protect that umbrella. And that's my concern for the Eagles defense. It's the DBs.
Desperate team, the Eagles, right now. And last year they were playing loosey-goosey. They had fun. They rode that all the way to a Super Bowl. Now is where we see what you guys are as a team. Measure of a man, measure of a locker room. And if it takes Timmy Jernigan, of all, like if Timmy Jernigan is what the players are leaning on, then Timmy Jernigan it will be. Let's see if the Eagles can find a way, because if they don't do it here, it might be all she wrote.
Eagles last stand. That's what this is. And I look at Doug Peterson. I think they might need 40 points to win this game. I mean, they got to score. They got to score. And Doug Peterson's hearing it. Well, the coordinator's gone and the quarterback coach is gone and you don't have it. You're an offensive coach. He needs to do what we should be doing in this segment, which is taking some shots. points downfield, because you got to have to win a track meet. Never mind your running game. I need 40 from the Eagles this year.
Last year they put up 30 or more points 9 times. This year just once. The Saints, on the other hand, right now have the 3rd highest scoring offense in NFL history.
Crazy.
Over 36 points a game. Wild. Let's on, guys. Let's move on with the Vikings and the Bears. So it's Vikings headed to Soldier Field to take on a feisty team. What are we focusing on in this matchup, Kyle?
I think this game will be won and lost by Mitch Trubisky, 100%. I believe in the Bears D. I think they'll do their thing against the Vikings. I'm looking at Trubisky under center. When Harrison Smith comes creeping up to the line, and there's Everson, and there's Linval, it's the biggest game of his career, national television. Mitch Trubisky needs to have not only a big boy game, a grown A-man game. We haven't seen it in this spotlight. Grown A-man game from Trubisky.
Kirk Cousins beating, the Lions and some of these other teams is one. Kirk Cousins needs to win this game. To me, Kirk Cousins got all that scratch, got all that money, and his legacy in Washington is loser. Fantasy football greatness, loser when we needed you. Lost in Week 15 against the Panthers, Week 17 against the Giants, lost in the playoffs at home against the Packers. Kirk Cousins. They pay you a lot of money, go win a game.
Right, neither team has beaten the team with a winning record. But when it comes to Mitchell Trubisky, it's the ultimate kids table conundrum. Like you do this segment
100%.
where these guys are sitting there eating the dinosaur nuggets. I look at the Bears as leader of the club's house in the NFC North, and they're saying, hey, Mom, can I order the filet mignon? It's called mignon. Okay, I don't think you can handle that right now.
Can I have some Cabernet?
Right now,
Can I have some ketchup on it?
I think right now they're at the point where they're understanding the adult menu. And if they can win this game, you can leave the kids table.
Yeah, but Mitchell Trubisky, we're just now seeing what kind of a guy he is in primetime because they're getting this primetime love. The rap sheet's out on Kirk Cousins. He's 4-11 in primetime in his career. So I'm looking at big things from the Bears at home, but a pivotal.
You gotta love that and appreciate it.
Got Kyle talking about drip.
That's all about the layers. You gotta layer up, you know?
I thought you had to coordinate.
Yeah.
No, that's boomerang.
Hey, Burleson, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt. My name's Kay Adams, and we are here to talk football for the next couple of hours. We knew it would come down to the end. We knew it would be exciting. Every play, it was Aaron Rodgers up against Russell Wilson in Russell Wilson's house, a key NFC showdown Thursday night.
Let's do it. Michael Jordan had the Palace at Auburn Hills. Pedro Martinez at Yankee Stadium. Aaron Rodgers has this joint. There he is in the clean, all whites there versus Russell Wilson, who has never in his career lost 3 in a row. Would he tonight? That would make 3.
Great stat.
First play of the game. It's a fumble by Chris Carson.
The very first play?
Very first play. There was a kickoff, actually, Nate, but we don't count that technically. We count this, though. It counts for 6 points precisely from Aaron Jones.
Kyle, at this point, do you not feel like, all right, finally, the Packers, like they got a little leg up here?
Yeah, Rodgers said it after the game. He's like, oh my gosh, this start, what a load off my shoulders, what an incredible start. Couldn't have been better. Terrible turnover to quick touchdown. Here we go. Outside the pocket, Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that, Russell Wilson. This is an amazing play. Here we go. You got it clocked. You got next gen. 2nd and 10. Rodgers looking. Who does he throw to? Devontae? No. My friends, that is Robert Tonyan. Rodgers told Michael Silver after the game, that one was nice. He said, to be honest, when I threw it, I thought it was Jimmy, and then I looked up. No, it's Bobby. He calls him Bobby Tonyan. Tonyan's first career catch of any kind out of Indiana State, the Sycamores, makes a massive play, and then kind of either didn't know what to do or was just so cool with it afterwards.
The twerk on his body to get that ball in the flick of the
And the twerk on the pass, the twerk and the torque.
It's an amazing play. It's a Steph Curry 30-footer. Rodgers, very fired up. This
Kyle,
one
the most
spelled
famous
extra.
Indiana State grad of all time is who?
They used to call him the hick from French Lick, Larry Bird. Here we go. 14-3, Doug Baldwin. Tap, 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 tap. I don't know if this is going to carry over. We got surfing.
Hey.
2 of the great surf cities in this country, Seattle and Green Bay. That's all they do there. Great tubes there. Home on the foam, as they say. Touchdown, Seattle. They're in. That was, who do we have there, Peter? Carson again, recovering from the fumble. Rodgers on the sideline. 17-14 Seattle now. We're still in the first half. And look, we got Aaron Jones catching the ball downfield.
Aaron Rodgers threw it off his back foot like a fadeaway jumper.
Yeah, and Aikman and Buck run. It wasn't a great throw, but Aaron Jones adjusts to it like a wide receiver. Amazing play, and more Tiger Woods on the 18th at Torrey. Hold on, though. 21-17. Why are we showing this 3rd and 7 deep in their territory? Because David Moore catches it, or does he, my friends? The referees call it incomplete. Pete says, no, my friend. Red challenge flag. Let's take a look at it. I don't know. What do you think, guys? I don't know.
Herrera said catch, Aikman said catch, but Mike McCarthy didn't think catch.
Ruled as a catch. Respect to Mr. Riveron. That counts, leads to a field goal, which was clutch, 21-20. Aaron Rodgers now looking 3rd and 9. Look at this bomb, just dropping it in the bucket.
My God.
He takes a hit on this one, too.
He takes a hit, and we're talking so much about Rodgers. Devontae was incredible last night, and they lead the league in 50-plus yard plays, Aaron Rodgers does, and more 18th at Torrey. What do we got after this, though? 21-20, 3rd down. Rodgers got sacked a lot last night. Credit to Seattle. That's a big play because it keeps the Packers to a field goal, and he says, damn. 24 down, 20, gets 3 points, so Russ has the ball. Russ did not play a good first half, did not play clean, but you know what he said afterwards? He said, sometimes when you shoot, you hit the rim. You just got to keep shooting. We have this one to Tyler Lockett. The reverse angle's fascinating. All right, nice catch, but hold on a second. Is it a nice catch? Look at the rotation here. Guess what, guys? Mike McCarthy does not challenge that. You got a whole staff of coaches. You have 50,000 replays. He elects not to challenge. You know what happens after that? Russ happens. That's easy. That's Ed Dixon. Peter from Oregon. Thank you. Same region of the country. Lucky. Russ says, I got this thing, too. There's a classic great drive by Russ Wilson. But there's a lot of time left. We have over 4 minutes. 3rd and 2. Rodgers. It's a tough throw. It's a bad throw. It's not a tough throw. It's just a bad throw. He missed him. Talked about it afterwards. Said I would make it 100 times. The ball slipped out of my hand. It was on him. You got to make that throw. Mike McCarthy decides to punt on a 4th and 2. Gives Seattle the ball. And guess what they do with the Packers at one timeout? Bye-bye. Sorry, Clay. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, not sorry. Pete Carroll, you won. Seattle was better. They were better late. There was better coaching, and there was better playing. 27-24. Huge win for the Seattle Seahawks. Let's hear from the brain trust, the man with the gum, Pete Carroll. Huge win, Pete.
Were you surprised, relieved that the Packers didn't go for it there on 4th and 2, knowing they only had a timeout?
I was relieved. I really did like that they punted the ball to us right there, because we knew that we had a shot then, to kill the game if we could and kill the clock, and we did it.
After the game, Aaron Rodgers was asked a couple things. We'll get to him in a second. This NFC playoff picture is pretty interesting, though. The Bears, the big one against the Vikings. A lot will be made about the future of the Packers in that one. But if you're a Bears fan, you're waking up happy to this news.
And Seattle and Green Bay is hoping for those wildcard teams to lose this weekend. That's what they're looking for. They want to get there. 4-5-1 is an ugly record, but it is not the end.
The other 3 teams in the hunt are teams that have a lot of skilled players. Falcons, Cowboys, and Eagles. It's not like those teams are just going to go away either. It was a tough loss for Green Bay.
0-5 on the road, 4-5-1, but still in the hunt. They could make it happen, right, Aaron?
What kind of question is that? Come on, man. Can't win on the road. I don't even know how to answer that, Rob. I mean, come on, what am I supposed to say? Of course there's hope. Of course we believe in each other. It's just going to take one galvanizing moment. So whether that's a speech or practice or something happens in the game, something's got to get this thing going. I thought we had moments tonight where that was the way we were going. The defense, a lot of injuries. Offensively, we lost Jimmy, but guys battled. So, nobody gave up. Hope. We just didn't play well enough when we had to play well enough.
Together a cohesive drive late in the 4th quarter. They haven't won consecutive games this season, and they are winless on the road. Schrags, what did you learn last night?
It's funny because they were up 14-3 in the first half of this one. They had leads in the 4th quarter of this one, and they couldn't close the door. And so the topic is going to be right away, the star Aaron Rodgers and what the Packers did wrong. What I took away from this one is that this Seattle franchise is a different beast than everyone else. This Seattle franchise has something special in it that maybe we don't appreciate on the East Coast or maybe in the national media. The Seahawks were not supposed to be good this year. And when I say supposed to be good, everyone else was telling them, you're not supposed to be a good team this year. It's supposed to be a rebuild year. You lose Richard Sherman. You get rid of all of these guys in the defensive backfield. Coaching changes on the offensive coordinator role. Seahawks are 5-5 and right in the mix. And it tells me how strong and stable that franchise is. We're here in New York. The New York Knicks have been rebuilding for 15 seasons. And every offseason it's going to be a bit of a long build here. The New York Jets even. Mike McCagnon came out earlier this season and said, 2019's always been the goal. We've got $100 million in cap space. There was no reason the Seahawks shouldn't have been a cellar-dwelling team this year in the NFC West, except for the fact that those guys in that building, those guys in that locker room, and those guys on the coaching staff and the front office John Schneider, Trent Kirchner, all those guys built a team that can compete this year. And oh, by the way, they have a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson.
Right.
So to me, the story in the headline, a lot of places are going to be what the Packers did wrong and where their shortcomings were. But the Seahawks as a whole, to be entering Week 12 as a 5-5 team in the mix of the playoffs,
awesome.
I love that. And it tells me a lot about what they've got going on there in Renton, Washington.
Maybe it was a graduation.
Yeah.
You know what else they weren't supposed to be this year? A running team. And they are running the ball as if this is their identity. We come in every single season saying Russell Wilson is going to account for most of the touchdowns. They got wide receivers that we don't respect that will make plays. They have tight ends that will step up and come up with some big plays. But last night I was watching this game, and there were some moments. There was a 4th down early in the game where they said, you know what? It's 4th and short. Let's go ahead and run the ball. And they did. And they gave it to Chris Carson, who fumbled the ball early in the game. There were some 3rd and shorts where their identity usually would have been drop back, let Russell Wilson do what he does, try to deliver the ball to some of his wide receivers, or Russell keep it and be phenomenal with your feet. They didn't lean on him. They didn't lean on him more than they needed to. We saw this over and over and over again. And as much as we're going to compliment the Packers offense, as much as we're going to compliment the Packers defense when they made plays like this, hitting a team in the mouth on 4th and 1, short yardage runs, right by the red zone.
That run was awesome. This is an angry run, Kyle.
That's demoralizing right there. It's not awesome. It's demoralizing to a defense that thinks they have a chance. So the short running game for the Seattle Seahawks, it says a lot. When we're coming off the season last year where Russell Wilson accounted for 36 out of 38 of the touchdowns. And the year before, he led their team with 850 yards rushing. This is a different team.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, I know Russell Wilson sitting back saying, thank you. About time I don't have to save the world every single game.
I love that you're talking run game and offense and the team as a whole. Part of that is the defense. You don't lose 5 Pro Bowlers and still have a top 10 defense. That is unheard of, and that's what they've got going on. I was really keyed in on that in this game, watching what they were doing. Frank Clark with a couple of sacks there, and you had Bobby Wagner everywhere with 9 tackles. But really, to hold the Packers to 3 points in the second half was crazy. They ate their Oikos 0-0 and got it going because that was, in my opinion, what fueled the win. They were down big. Russell Wilson, of course, did his thing, but the Packers had less than 50 yards on the ground. All we talked about, at least I did, all week was Aaron Jones, though. Man, Aaron Jones is really good. They ran the ball perfectly the week before. This Seattle defense, without those stars, 5 Pro Bowlers, is bringing it. To me, it all comes down to Bobby Wagner and how he's just all over the field in a complete destructive wrecking force, obviously. But Ken Norton Jr., we see you. You know Seattle. You've been there several years before, and you're back and you're crushing it as the D coordinator. So shout out to you and what this young, feisty defense is doing as part of the graduation.
They deserve it, Carrie. It's a graduation party. It's 100% right. And I'm trying as much as I can, but I keep coming back to Rodgers.
That's the story today.
You know, some of us, I certainly am being called a Rodgers apologist or making excuses for him, and I'm evaluating myself. Am I just being seduced by the talent and making excuses for him? And I look at the game, I say, hell no, I'm not. He's the best player on the field. And the idea now, do you know that Aaron Rodgers right now is in the longest interception-free streak of his career? 255 in his career, MVP. It's the best he's ever played in a lot of ways. I will say this, there's something going on where I look at Aaron Rodgers kind of like The Rock.
Go on.
The Rock is universally beloved. Everyone loves him. He's a great guy. He's charismatic. People love The Rock. I love The Rock. The Rock's movies are horrible. The Rock, I don't think, has ever made a movie that
Big in China.
test of time. Ever. That's fine. I'm sure the Chinese people love him. Good for them. He's never made a movie that my kids are going to watch, that my grandkids are going to watch in 5 years, 10 years. It's disposable fast food entertainment. And I feel like the Rodgers is giving us Rock movies one after another. And what do you do when the movies are bad one after another? You need a new director.
Yeah.
We are not the fire coach show, fire anybody show. How many coaches has LeBron James had in his career? About 15? How many coaches, Peter, has Aaron Rodgers had in his career? 1.
Yeah.
It's Mike McCarthy. The marriage isn't working. And you can get in, sit on the couch and sort that out. Now we're having tangible transgressions about not challenging and not going for it. This marriage is on the splits.
13 years they've been together.
13 years, Peter, and 1 Super Bowl appearance with the greatest quarterback any of us have ever seen. I think it might be time for a new director.
We'll see if it happens. Could you see that happening in season?
No.
Like no chance?
Because the only reason you would fire a coach in season is if there's a guy on staff that you're like, he's the next one.
There's no solution here.
Yeah. And they're not out of it yet. That's the crazy thing.
No.
There's a chance the Bears fall apart.
You said you'd be shocked
But if
today
they
the
miss
Packers
the
lost.
playoffs for the second, I mean, that doesn't happen, then you've got to make a change, right?
I think they should if then things don't drastically change.
You know who might be happy about this Packers loss?
Someone on the Bears?
Our next guest, that is right. A Super Bowl champion with the Eagles, Trey Burton, is joining the show in a little bit.
Kind of started during training camp and our preseason game against the Broncos. We had came back and won at the very end, and when we got back into the locker room, everybody was kind of like separated, was in their own little area, and Nagy walked in and kind of was ticked off and was angry at the guys and kind of screamed at us and told us to get in here and celebrate. Every win in the NFL is really hard to get, and we just got to celebrate those. And so ever since then, he's brought a disco ball, brought DJ, lights, all that type of stuff, and we've just been dancing. He wants more team participation. That's what he was talking about in the interview after the game or the meeting after the game. And so hopefully, I'm pretty sure after this week, if we can get the W, that everybody will be in there dancing.
Now, Trey, as Kay said earlier, you're in the midst of a breakout season. Now, I know personally what it's like going from one team to another and people saying, I need you to be better than you were the year before. How have you made this transition to have such a successful start with the Bears so far?
I think it's the guys around us. We have a really good quarterback, a great offensive-minded head coach, and then also, everybody else, every other coach at each position. They just do a great job with us, and we just have a lot of really good players on this team, a lot of guys who are hungry to win. And that was the first thing I noticed when I got here is how hungry everybody was to win. They're tired of losing for the last couple of years, and now we have an opportunity, right in front of us to lead our division and keep a good lead, and so we're really excited about that.
Trey, on Saturday Night Live, they have something called the Five Timers Club. If you host a show 5 times, you get a jacket. I feel like you're one of our most frequent and favorite guests.
Great call.
So I think this might be your 5th time on the show, and I'm going to ask you, back in May, on your last time on this program, you said Mitchell Trubisky was special and right up there with Carson Wentz as far as his passing went. Now we're here. We're entering Week 11, biggest game of the season. What do you think of Mitch Trubisky, and how would you grade him this far into the year?
Man, he's grown so much. Really the way to grade any player is from week to week. How much are they getting better? Are they, declining, or are they on the rise? And I think without a question, he's on the rise. He's just getting better every single week. And, he's leading our offense. He's taking charge. He's responsible, for everything. And he's definitely a guy that I'm really enjoying playing with, getting to know, more and more each week. And, the sky's the limit for him.
It really is, and it's fun to watch you guys every week, Trey. No matter how many good things you have going on, there's still so much noise about you. You don't have a signature win, and you haven't beaten Rodgers, and you haven't beaten the Vikings. And if only, Trey, if only you had ever been on a team that no one believed in, and you channeled that to motivate yourself, and the story ended well.
Yeah.
You've been through this before, man. Mid-season now, you're hearing the same stuff you've heard before. What is your reaction to the reaction?
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand all of that. I don't really pay too much attention to it. But bottom line is we have an opportunity this week. We're getting games flexed now. We got LA coming in a couple weeks. We have this one we play on Thanksgiving Day. So we get a couple primetime games, and people are going to be able to see what we're really about. And, it's a challenge to us. Like you said, I've played the underdog role, and we've played it really, really well. I kind of enjoy it, a lot better than being the favorites. And so, like I said, we have an opportunity, and we're really excited for it this week.
Vikings, prime time. You just said it. You have a chance to really make a wave here and convince a lot of people who might still be doubting you. How are you guys approaching this one, and what are you personally focused on?
Yeah, you don't want to make it too much more than a normal game, but obviously, there's a little bit more weight to this one just because we're at the top of the division against each other, and it's a flex game Sunday night. Haven't had one of these in a long time here in Chicago, so we can kind of feel the excitement from the city. I know I'm personally really excited to see how these fans show up, see how loud they can be, how much of a factor, Soldier Field and home field advantage can be. And so, I mean, but it's still just a game. We still got, 6 or 7 more after this. And so, but obviously you want to win this one, and you want to win, throughout the rest of the year.
Trey, you've been one of the most active players in the community since you've entered the league. This year, you're part of the Bears Social Justice Committee. Tell us about the work you've been doing as the initiative that they're putting forth and what you guys have coming up.
Yeah, we've had since I've gotten here, actually, we've had great men of character in this locker room going out and doing stuff in the community. And then once we found out that our club was had to match up to $250,000 for a social injustice cause. We got together and kind of started doing things together and really thought we should take advantage of this. We really wanted to be the first team to raise the money and then have the team match, and so we were able to do that. We've had unbelievable support from the guys in the locker room. I want to say, close to 40, 50 guys, contributed to the $250,000. And so, and obviously living in a huge city like Chicago, there's definitely a big need and an opportunity to raise awareness for the social injustice cause. And so we kind of got together. There's 5 of us from the team and then 4 from the staff. And our owner has been unbelievable. George has done a great job of helping, and he actually matched anything above $250,000. And that's Mr. McCaskey, and so it's just been a really cool thing, and we've kind of watched it develop. We were at the beginning stages, and now we've kind of made a point to what organizations we're going to give to, and done a ton of research. Man, it's been a ton of work put in behind this. We weren't just going to throw 500. Well, we have actually raised $813,000, but we weren't just going to throw that money at an organization and say here's money for a cause and good luck. And so a lot of research went into this, a lot of time, and we think we kind of hit it right on the head.
Incredible stuff. We love what you do on the field, but we're even bigger fans of what you do off the field. Keep doing your thing. Good luck the rest of the season, man. And don't forget about us when the season's over, man. Come by and hang out with us.
Nate, let me hold that suit, bro, for this week. At least for the next week, man. I gotta wear that.
Man, you're gonna be like Incredible Hulk in this suit, man, busting out the seams. Good luck, man. Get in the end zone.
I want to see you at Club Dub, man. Pete, come on.
Of course you get invited into Club Dub. Thanks so much, Trey. Love having you on the show. Let's go, Bears.
Bear down.
Vikings. Here come the score.
DJ Swearinger needs any more motivation as a professional football player. He gets more knowing he'll face all his former teams. Swearinger's seeing Washington get the better of Arizona and Tampa Bay. And on Sunday, he'll see the Texans, the same team Swearinger claims bashed him on the way out, so the revenge tour continues for him. But this game will be a little trickier as he'll square off against quarterback Deshaun Watson. Watson can get you with his arms and his legs. And Trey Swearinger remembers from another mobile, very skilled QB that used to give opposing defenses fits back in the day.
When he runs, he's trying to look downfield. He has the wheels to get loose, but when he scrambles, he's trying to look downfield. That's what makes him dangerous. And when he does take it down, he has wiggle. Cam and Dak, they don't have the wiggle like he does. He has more of the Michael Vick wiggle. He's not as fast as Michael Vick, but he has that wiggle, and that's tough.
All right, he's got that Michael Vick wiggle. Meanwhile, Bengals running back Joe Mixon limited in practice due to a knee injury, the same knee he had scoped earlier this season that cost him 2 games. His teammate, wide receiver A.J. Green, also did not practice as he continues to deal with a toe injury. The Raiders visiting a children's hospital in Oakland. They hung out there with patients and their families. They were handing giveaways in the hospital's schoolrooms and playrooms. And right there you can see the players also presenting special Raiders-branded remote-controlled cars that were donated. Smiles all the way around. And even though it hasn't been quite the season they would have liked, at least they are still out there continuing to do great things in the community. Well, it's time now for Nate and Peter and a little 2-point conversing.
Will Silva, thank you. As you see right here, this is our actual view from a different nook of our studio. Talk about views. I spent over 10 years in press boxes watching football from that many feet high, while this guy had the view from the sideline and in the trenches. Nate Burleson. Media guy, player, 2-point conversing. This is what we do. I'm going to say a statement. Nate's going to tell me whether he agrees or disagrees. We'll put 2 minutes on the clock. We're just going to have at it. Our first statement.
Okay.
Start up in New England. Statement. There is reason to be concerned about the 2018 New England Patriots Super Bowl chances, Nate.
No reason to be concerned. We just came off this view of beautiful New York. And what do we see? Scaffolding and cranes. There's always work to do, but you never lose respect for this city. There's always work to do with the Pats, but it seems like we're losing respect for a team that has done it time and time again. They got guys that are banged up, of course, but when these guys get back healthy, you got Sonny Michel who's going to get back on the field. Gronk who's going to get back on the field. Julian Edelman's a little bit banged up, but they have superstars like Josh Gordon making plays. My guy James White has 10
This is great.
touchdowns
Stats
right
are
now.
great. Hey, look,
I'm not telling you stats. I'm telling you playmakers.
I just watched them get blown out by the Titans. I saw them get blown out by the Lions. I saw them get blown out by the Jaguars. These are not teams that are correctly. And here's what I'm worried about. Even if they win that disgusting AFC East and get to the playoffs with that, they're going to have to win 2 road games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I have no confidence based on what I've seen and those injuries to guys who are not just Gronk, Sony Michel. Those are real injuries. Those are key players. I have no confidence this year that they're going to suddenly turn it on and win 2 road playoffs.
That's real cute, Strays. Oh, they got blown out. You remember 2014, they were 2-2 and they got blown out by the Chiefs? Super Bowl. You remember when they lost Gronk 2 years later? Everybody said they can't do it without Gronk. Super Bowl. You remember last year when they started 2-2 and historically that defense was one of the worst ever. You know what? They just can't win it with this team. They go to the Super Bowl again. When are we going to learn? We have this same conversation every year. Heavy lifting. The Patriots dynasty is over. And then that weight collapses on everybody that doubted them. The Patriots will always be in the conversation. They will always be in the postseason, and they will always be contenders for the Super Bowl.
I'm not taking away what they've done historically, and I'm not taking away what they have in that building, which is a great coach, a great quarterback, an incredible offensive coordinator, maybe the best tight end of all time. I will say this. I saw them go into Denver in a playoff game, and the crowd and that defense got to them. And Von Miller, they need that home field advantage. It's nice when it's in Foxborough. That's a big advantage. If they don't have that, not only do they have to win 1 playoff game on the road, they might have to win 2 playoff games on the road. In a loaded AFC, you feel confident they can do that?
I feel confident they can do that. And you know why? Because I went that whole minute and you didn't even mention one name. Tom Brady. They got the GOAT, fam. That's a good one. Hey, let's go. Let's keep this thing going.
Let's go.
The Chargers.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't get enough respect. So let's talk about the 7-2 Chargers. How do you feel about it?
You earn respect in this league. What do you mean you don't get enough respect? Everyone says the media's not talking about the Chargers enough. Well, the Chargers have been really bad for a really long time and haven't won a big game. I've seen the Chiefs just roll over them every single time they play. And at 7-2, that 7-2 includes a 17-38-1 record from their combined opponents. I will gladly give the Chargers respect, and so will the rest of the media. We're not some cabal that's trying to keep the Chargers from our conversations when they win that big game and when they beat the Chiefs and when they get the job done. Look, we're trained to just give respect to the teams that do it and do it on a consistent basis. Chargers 7-2, these are not, they beat the Raiders twice.
Okay. All right, well, one, they can't help their schedule. Like, everybody talks about the games that they're winning. Okay, it is what it is. They're on a hot streak right now, and since they've been on that hot streak, the #1 defense in the league, not to mention Joey Bosa's coming back to down. And you mentioned the games that they lost. What about when the Pats lost to the Lions? People didn't panic. What about when the Saints lost to the Bucs? People didn't panic. But you look at the Chargers and they lose to the Chiefs and the Rams, who are combined 18-2, and all of a sudden we're going to panic? Those are 2 of the best teams in the business.
Don't panic. Look, I'm not saying they're not playing well. The question was why we don't respect them enough.
We don't talk about them enough.
Why not?
Rivers is
because you're playing at 4 o'clock window on CBS against the Raiders, and no one's. You have to have that primetime win. They haven't had that big game win. That's why we don't talk about them.
And they will get that big time win. They will get that primetime win. Phillip Rivers have an MVP season. Melvin Gordon should be talked about with Todd Gurley, and they have a host of players offensively and defensively that make this team one of the more well-rounded squads in the business. Okay, are we all looking at the ghost of the Chargers past? Yeah, that might be true, but I say we take everything at face value. And at face value right now, the L.A. Chargers are the second best team in L.A. It's not the Lakers. It's not anybody else. I don't care about California. If you're not talking about the
Rams, there's only 2 teams in L.A. What do you want?
I'm talking about all of sports. We're sitting there talking about
the Dodgers went to the World Series. That's pretty good.
We're talking about the LeBron and the Lakers more than we're talking about the Chargers.
Okay.
Give the Chargers some respect.
Change the narrative. Why don't you talk about the Chargers enough?
I do. I talk about them all the time. I said before the season started they got the most well-rounded wide receiver core, and Melvin Gordon doesn't get talked about enough. Phillip Rivers might be the MVP.
Win a big game, and we'll start talking about you. The Chiefs Thursday night. It's coming. All right.
All right.
Last one. My last statement. Sweating here. The Steelers would have been better off this year if Le'Veon Bell had been with this team all along.
This is a tough one, and I can sit here and give you stats and numbers, but I don't want to give you anything. I want to tell you straight up that James Conner brings a better balance to this team. Now, I don't want people at home, even Le'Veon Bell, if you're watching, say, Nate, come on, man, you tripping. You know I'm one of the best to ever do it. That's true, but when you're on the field, it was a different squad. It was Le'Veon, touch the rock, passing game, running game, and then we go to AB. But now, this year, we're talking about this team in its totality. You got Juju Smith-Schuster having himself a season. AB has a balance now. He's not wearing the weight of the world on his shoulders. James Conner is doing it all. And we're talking about tight ends for the first time ever when it comes to this Steelers offense.
If you wanted to say that Le'Veon Bell was toxic or Le'Veon Bell ruined the
I won't do it.
No, I would have said, okay, well, that's something I can't put my finger on. Le'Veon Bell led the NFL with 3,800 yards from scrimmage. Like, he's one of the best football players in the league. If you're telling me they're a better team on the field without him there, that's hard for me to stop. To me, that's one of the greatest weapons. It can only help you. And if you're going to say off the field, that hurt the team, I can't argue with that. But you're saying on the field, they're better without him?
No, let me bring this home for you, Strays. Le'Veon Bell on the field this year for the Steelers would have been a lose-lose for everybody. One, the team would have leaned on Le'Veon Bell too much because they would try to wear him out because they want to get their money's worth and they're going to get rid of him. They didn't commit to him, which is why they didn't pay him. And when it comes to the postseason, if they lean on the guy that much and he goes down in the playoffs, oh, do you remember that game where Le'Veon Bell went down the playoffs and the Steelers couldn't do anything? Now, all of a sudden, there is a better balance with James Conner. So if James Conner gets nicked up, banged up, they still can lean on these other pieces that have shown that they can be a productive part of this offense this season. That's what I mean by balance. Le'Veon Bell deserves to be on a team where he can get every single ball that he wants every single game.
It's not zero-sum. It's not zero. It's not James Conner or it's not Antonio Brown. Or to me, Le'Veon Bell is one of the greatest players in the NFL. Personality and contract stuff aside, he only could have helped the Steelers beat the Patriots this year. And then the stretch run, I think they might miss having a guy of that talent on that roster.
I feel like James Conner will bring a balance to this team that could put these guys over the hump and slay the dragon of the Patriots.
How good was that?
That was real good, baby. I appreciate you, man. Hey, listen, you guys don't go in.
Well, last week, wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. went out on a limb and said the then 1-7 Giants could win out and finish the season 9-7 and have a shot at the playoffs. Well, step one accomplished when New York beat the 49ers on Monday Night Football. When he made those comments, OBJ says he heard a lot of chuckles. Well, after his 2 touchdown performance to help push New York's record at 2-7, Odell still has his sights set on a February trip to the ATL.
Same thing I say before the season, it goes to win a Super Bowl. It's always going to be to win a Super Bowl. If you're just here to have fun or whatever else, I don't know. I don't think you should be here. The goal is to win every game. I'm trying to win. If we play 16, I'm trying to win 16. Win the 4 in the playoffs, win a Super Bowl. You never want to lose. So my mentality is going to be to win these last 7 games, no matter who believes it or what's said or anything like that. That's going to be my goal.
OBJ determined. Meanwhile, Steelers running back James Conner, a full participant in practice for a second straight day Thursday as he continues to recover from a concussion. He's still, though, in the league's concussion protocol, but all signs point to Conner playing against the Jaguars. And speaking of those Jags, the team partnering with the Wounded Warrior Project as they hosted veterans and service members for a night of golf and entertainment. Leonard Fournette, one of the players on hand, spent time with the injured service members as they also surprised them with gifts. And as always, we always thank the service of those who have served or continue to serve, and can't say enough about the hashtag salute to service.
Raising money per tweet of hashtag salute to service. Remind you, the National Football League has kicked off Salute to Service thanks to the league's year-round effort to honor, to empower, to connect with our nation's service members, our veterans, their families. Salute to Service is growing, still building, but not enough. Keep it coming. 5.777. Keep it going. NFL.com/salute, or just get on Twitter right now, and hit that hashtag Salute to Service. While you're at it, hit hashtag GNFB and tell us what you're thinking, what you guys want us to be talking about on this Friday. To Omar Ruiz first has an update on everything going on Chiefs-Rams.
Good morning, Kay. So Andy Reid and the Chiefs now preparing for a true road game against the Rams as opposed to the neutral site game they're expecting to see in Mexico City. But Reid telling me that changes nothing in terms of their preparation this week. He said they always play loud music at practice to anticipate the loud environments they'll face on the road. They were blasting Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg's Still DRE to start practice yesterday, perhaps as a tribute to their upcoming West Coast trip. They're planning on leaving Sunday night about the same time they were planning on leaving for their Mexico City flight, so nothing changes there. They're even staying in the same hotel as they did in September when they were out there to face the Chargers, so a little familiarity for them. The Chiefs offense could be getting a boost this week as Sammy Watkins returned to practice yesterday. Although in a limited role, he did miss the game against the Cardinals on Sunday with that foot injury. Andy Reid saying there's a pretty good chance that Watkins plays on Monday night against his former team. For now, let's send it back to you in the studio, Kay.
Smile on my face, Omar. This is going to be a great one. 2 9-1 squads facing off, I'd say, several MVP candidates in the mix as well. Let's break this down Mad Minute style. 60 seconds on the clock. I can't start with anybody but Peter.
This is my Super Bowl pick before the season, Kay, and I don't know who to pick in this one. I'll be completely honest.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to win this game. But some of the things that Omar said are really interesting. This was supposed to be played in Mexico City, so the entire Rams organization moved their offices and everything to Colorado Springs to adjust to the altitude. They stayed and went with that plan. So the Rams, despite a home game, are in Colorado Springs till Saturday. It's a very interesting decision, and I'm curious to see how that plays out Monday night because the Chiefs are like, business trip, it was a road trip to Mexico City, or here, we're going, and we've already been to that hotel in L.A. A lot of all of it. I love the logistics going into the week.
That's you, baby.
It means something, though.
Very interesting the Rams would stay and make this a road trip when it's a home game. See if that affects them.
Wow, Peter, this is a good breakdown. I'm going to look at, there's so many MVP candidates and fantastic players in this. The guy who has my attention is Marcus Peters. I think he's first team all content. I love him. And it's pretty crazy to let a first team all pro corner go in the middle of his prime as the Chiefs did. Now they lack in the second.
Or
it's big, or maybe it is. It's a big assignment he's got on Monday. I can't wait to see Peters.
This is the battle of the backs. The best back last year in Kareem Hunt. Todd Gurley this year is the best back in football. Whoever can run the ball and control the ground, that team is going to win this game.
31 touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes in 10 games.
Amazing.
That is unbelievable stuff. I just want to see exciting action between both squads.
Yeah,
and I
you're
pretty
gonna see it, Kay.
know I'm going to get that. Let's move on, guys, to the Texans. We know they're on a 6-game winning streak, which is amazing and unbelievable and awesome, but they're taking on a Redskins team. It's banged up, but it is a first-place team in their division. So what are we looking at in this one, KB?
You know what's a terrible take that I've heard? That the 6-game winning streak, they haven't beaten anybody. Like, it's a 6-game winning streak?
Yeah, but...
Ridiculous. And yet you look at the team, they're not that good. The other guy who's first team all content, I'm looking at this one, Josh Norman. Josh Norman may be heartily booed by his home fans in this one. I understand he's doing something on Twitter now where he's trying to bring people, trying to make up for it. They remember, rally the Hogettes. This is going to be big.
You know who's first team all content is DeAndre Hopkins because he's that superhero that doesn't talk. You know, some superheroes are like Tony Stark. You know, they want to tell everybody how great they are and then go out there and save the day. He's not that. He sits back in the cut and he does his thing quietly. He's one of the best in the business, and I feel like this guy's a wide receiver. Even though the running game is there, he could be the one that changes the game and breaks this wide open.
Redskins are kind of an interesting team. I don't think many people thought they were going to beat the Buccaneers with all those offensive line injuries. They find a way to win in Tampa, and DJ Swearinger, cut by the Texans, kind of treated like
revenge game.
And he's been talking the talk.
Jungle Boy swag.
Jungle Boy swag wants to get that. And Bill O'Brien is a guy that he does not respect. I can't wait to see how that all goes.
Talk about first team content. That's DJ Swearinger. And also you have J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson. They haven't turned the ball over, by the way, in the 6-game win streak for 3 games straight. But who's comeback player of the year? Is it in this game? Is it on that Texans team?
Yeah,
is it J.J. or is it going to be Deshaun Watson?
Could be Adrian Peterson.
Could be.
There is Adrian Peterson there as well. We'll see how that one shakes out because the Redskins do say what you want about the offensive firepower given the injuries. They still have a top 5 defense in this league. Moving on to the Jags. So this is going to be a crazy game. They knocked out the Steelers from the playoffs. Big Ben threw, what, 5? He had 5 turnovers in the regular season against them. Does the rematch play out the same way on Sunday night?
No, it doesn't. You know, one of my favorite lines from 50 Cent's Wankster Stone was, "Damn, homie. Last year, you was the man, homie. What happened to you?" That's the Jags. Like, last year, you guys were official. You guys were dominating. Defensively, you guys were bullying teams around. Offensively, you guys had a rhythm. Now you're not that. Not at all. Steelers have embraced that, though. Defensively, they're pushing people around like this is the old school Steelers. Offensively, Big Ben has a rhythm. James Conner, though, is the concern, though. Being in concussion protocol, is he going to be on the field? Because he has brought the ultimate balance to this offense.
Steelers have had this cloud of Le'Veon Bell all this way, and they still are 5-2-1. It might be freeing and liberating. We might see the best Steelers yet. The fact that they don't have to answer questions about this guy for the rest of the season.
I hate to do it, but I'm also going to talk about the running back who has not been there, Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, guys, let's not forget what he did last year. He's been on the shelf. They bring him back last week, Jacksonville. He had like 24 carries and a bunch of catches, big workload. He is a difference maker for Jacksonville. I think he could do a little more summoning this week. I actually think this is an upset alert. I do.
What do you mean?
I think Jacksonville's going to win.
Yeah? 5 straight losses.
Yeah, I do.
7 turnovers in their 2 losses last year.
I know the numbers indicate that Pittsburgh will win. I got a feeling about Jacksonville.
I'm just, they got them. I just feel like that's a crazy, I did not think it's going to go that way. We'll talk about it.
That's why we play the
All
games.
Right, we've got much more coming up on Good Morning Football after this. Of course, we've got your highway quick folks. Welcome on in. My name's Kay Adams. It is Friday. Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt alongside. We're going to start this hour just as we start every hour after an incredible game, and that's what we had last night in Seattle. A key NFC matchup. It was the Seahawks hosting the Packers. How to go down and always get to weird.
Let's do it. This game will be decided in the 4th quarter, and I guarantee you, so will this highlight read. Russell Wilson has never, I said, lost 3 games in a row. He's lost 2 coming in. How would they do? Not well on the first play of the night. Chris Carson puts the ball on the ground. Clay Matthews with the strip. He's got something to prove in that stadium. And Aaron Rodgers, little flip to Aaron Jones, Aaron to Aaron, and they are airing it out on the ground this time. Touchdown, 8-yard variety. Packers go up early.
Hey, you going to pass it to me right now?
Hey, take the ball.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Aaron Rodgers, though. Check out this play right here. 18 TD passes outside the pocket since 2016. That's most in the NFL. But later in the first quarter, Packers ball. 2nd and 10, and check out this. He avoids the sack, steps outside the pocket, he points upfield, and drops a bomb downfield. 7.14 in the pocket. Obviously, that's going to give you time.
Better pass that or the Mahomes one from.
I would say that pass right there. I want you to check out this instant replay and peep the twerk on his body and what it takes for him to get that ball downfield. And the total distance is what blows you away on this one. Wow. How about that 26.50? The probability of him making this pass was 36.9. The 3rd most improbable pass of his career.
Whoa. And it was to Bob Tonyan.
You're unbelievable. Hey, Pete, Schrags. Hey, take it away, Peter.
All right, let's go to the 2nd quarter. Seahawks ball trailing 14-3. Kyle, your voice is so good.
Yes, I've got the timbre this morning.
Wilson to Baldwin, 6-yard touchdown, and then we're going surfing. Nothing says Seattle, Green Bay like surfing.
Peter, you a big Gidget guy?
That's it. I loved Gidget. Loved it. Left point break.
That's how it wouldn't work these days.
No, probably not. Touchdown, Seahawks, and then they go again, and here we go. The Seahawks then take the lead on the Packers, and this is when it's like Aaron Rodgers time. Let's get going. What can we do? Ensuing Packers possession, 2nd and 7. This pass might be even better than the other one. Throws it under him a little bit, but guess who catches it? Of all people,
look at that
running back Aaron Jones out of the backfield. Packers regain the lead, and Rodgers fired up this game. He had it all game. 3rd quarter, Seahawks ball, trailing 21-17. Very controversial play in this one. Even more, Aikman Buck debating. Pereira comes in, says he might have actually caught it. They go, they review it. It turns out they call it a catch. They said he had position, and that is going to be a Seahawks field goal in which they would drive and take a 1-point lead. But for the 4th quarter highlights, let's go to someone a little better at this.
Can you get it to me early enough? 9 here. Rodgers to Devontae Adams, 57 yards. I don't know about twerk or numbers or anything close to talk about. I know that's a heck of a throw.
Hey, you're right about that.
Packers, cheeseheads fired up in Seattle. A-Rod, as you would expect. He was so sharp moving out of the pocket during the game. So 3 plays later, the drive's alive. It's 3rd and 5. It's Rodgers. It's another sack. It's Rasheem Green. He keeps plays alive, but sometimes they get to him, like 5 sacks. Field goal by Crosby. 4-point game. Russell Wilson time. Right, 1st and 10. Midfield. Tyler Lockett. You know, Wilson doesn't get credit enough, I think, for his passing out of the pocket. He's improved so much. Perfect dime drop there. 34 yards to the 16. So the Seahawks here on the roll. One more look at this. Ball moving. So, again, you want to bring Pereira in. You want to bring Blandino in. You want to bring McCauley in. You want to bring Steratore in. Does anybody work on the field anymore? No challenge. And maybe they should have. 3 plays later. Here's why. 3rd and 9 for the 15. Ed Dixon, the old Raven tight end, finding the end zone. Tight ends are so key to Wilson. Dixon, a big ad. Seattle, 27-24. 3rd time the lead's flipped, so this one was really good. So here come the Packers now, 3rd and 2, their own 33. 4.5 left for Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Incomplete. Questions. A lot of people wondering about that throw. They decide to punt with a timeout, try to play the clock game here. Not going to work. Seahawks possession, 2nd and 6, 2:34. No timeouts. Davis the run, and you know what happens. You get a timeout on the other side of the, or 1st down on the other side of the 2-minute warning. You're out of timeouts. Yep. Ball game. Chomp your gum, Pete Carroll. Good win. I love you. I love ball. 27-24. So the Seahawks are 5-5. The Packers are 4-5-1, and this brutal 5-week stretch for Green Bay that started back with the Rams and the Pats on the road losses.
They beat the Dolphins. They lose this one. Next Sunday night on NBC, by the way, we got Sunday Night Football. That's the Vikings and the Packers. That becomes a must-win for the. Is there more rundown here, or is this good?
Welcome to the show. I don't know how you got in here. Mike Tirico, the host.
My man's so good. Can't believe it's not butter. The voice.
It's morning. I usually do evening highlights.
Yeah.
Morning.
You're like Yoda. Teach me the ways of the Force. I want to become a Jedi like my father before me.
I don't have all that information like Nate. I can't hang with you guys.
Next-gen stats. That's great.
Next-gen Nate. I loved it. Good morning, gang. Good to be with everybody. How you doing?
So host of Football Night in America. Thank you for joining us. I don't know how you snuck in the studio. We are happy to have you here. And brilliant highlight read by the entire.
I just brought the highlight sheet with me, too.
The entire table. Let's talk about this. You're talking Packers here. They're 0-5 now on the road. What is your big takeaway from last night's game?
This was one of those, either team that won was going to really be in that wild card mix, because this is one of those head-to-head conference record games that impacts you as you go through. It's going to be tough for Green Bay now. I know the road schedule was brutal, like I started to say. 4 of 5, not just on the road, but against like Class A teams, the really good teams here. And Seattle was the one you try to sneak away. It's a Thursday night game, short week, going out to the site of the Fail Mary, all that good stuff. And that's a tough one for them to swallow. It's going to be a long road to get back, not just in their division, because right now you got 2 good teams ahead of them, but now you throw a Seattle with a head-to-head in there, and the record's going to be a problem.
The matchup we're talking about at the table a lot this week is the Monday night one, a premier showcase on Monday Night Football, a broadcast you used to be the anchor of, and the lead guy, the play-by-play guy, but Rams versus Chiefs, Mahomes versus Goff. When you take the quarterbacks alone, you've seen all the quarterbacks in the league. Are these the future faces, these 2 names?
In many ways, they are. Doesn't it feel that way? Because we have my pal Scott Van Pelt, who I worked with at ESPN, a great line. I always talk about microwave society. You know, we want to just throw it in the microwave and say, let's send him to Canton. Let's put him in a gold jacket, right? You want to pump the brakes with Mahomes, but then every time you see him, you're like, wow, this is really good. This is getting better. And I want to talk about Andy Reid for a second. I think it's fascinating because the West Coast offense was the foundation for so much ball here for 25, 30 years, right? Take the spread stuff that's going on in college ball and put it on top of the West Coast offense. And that's what we have here. And I'm going to throw out a name that maybe doesn't get talked about much. Brad Childress.
Oh, great.
Okay. Tell him about what Brad did last year.
A few years ago, when Brad Childress is out and Andy Reid brings him in, he's the director of special projects.
What's it mean?
We're going to Kansas City. I'm like, what's Chili doing? Is he just, is he like setting up buffet lines? What's he doing? He's director of special projects. He was researching all of this spread stuff and how that conceptually interlays with the foundations of the West Coast offense. And on Sirius NFL radio, I heard Brett Favre talking to Andy Reid, and he said all these plays, and Andy said, look, the base is the West Coast. It's all this new stuff on top of it. Now, the key was find the guy who could pull it off. And Mahomes is the guy. I think he's the real deal. It'll be a great matchup. I'm excited for my old pals at Monday Night Football. They'll have a big-time game, and now obviously in L.A., but that'll be a great game on Monday.
Now, you mentioned we live in a microwave society. Next Thursday, you'll be calling the game with 2 teams that can heat up faster than minute rice. That's
right.
The Falcons and the Saints. And we're looking at this Saints offense, and it seems like week after week they just wow us. Where does this Saints offense stack up? You know, up against the teams that are playing right now, but possibly some of the teams in history?
Let's see how they go the rest of the year to take the historical comparison on it, right?
Yeah.
Because we are through 9, but what I like is Sean Payton wasn't satisfied. He knew what he was doing with Drew Brees. They knew they had some magic there. But now adding the duo of running backs, what Taysom Hill does, who knows what he's going to be every 5 minutes, but it's almost like they find beyond creative ways. Swiss Army knife almost sounds like it's degrading his abilities.
It's almost too crude a comment. Like, you need, it's even better.
Exactly. And Breeze has bought into the whole concept, too, because they love it. It's almost like beautiful mind kind of thing going on. You know this, Nate. When you get a quarterback and an offensive guy who are both really cerebral and very creative, and the core of that staff, too, they've been there for 11 years.
Carmichael, all those guys.
Right. Pete Carmichael and Joe Lombardi and all those guys. That offensive brain trust has been together, so they can get to the master's level of what they're doing and just say, hey, here's your role on this, but conceptually, we're way up here. I love what they're doing. I'm excited to get to do the game with my studio pals, Tony Dungy and Rodney Harrison.
Fun.
Thanksgiving, no less. I mean, that's a huge audience. That'll be great.
You got to take your crew to London. I get to take my crew to New Orleans for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
there you go. Not bad.
It's all good. Right?
And meanwhile, you have an awesome Sunday nighter on NBC. I mean, Bears, Vikings, great games. Trubisky in a big game. Cousins, can he win a big game? What gets you excited about this one, Mike?
Do you believe in the Bears?
Yeah.
You know, because now okay, here they are on the big stage. There are 2 games this year that kind of stick with me for the Bears. It was the Rodgers opening night, right? And Sunday night, and Aaron gets hurt. You think he's out for the year. He comes back and he wins the game. And then the Dolphins game that they lost during the year. Those were 2 games that slipped away from them, that we could be looking at this Bears team very differently.
Right.
I think they're good, not just Khalil Mack. Prince Amukamara was in part of 3 turnovers last week. I'm into Trubisky and what they're doing offensively as well. And again, we talked about Kansas City.
Yeah.
Matt Nagy. Yeah. It's that system, it's that feel, it's that aggressiveness of play calling. So that's going to be a really good one. And the Vikings come off the 10-sack game and a bye. So let's see if they are. Look, it's
their defense is back.
And a better offensive line than the Lions.
Yeah.
Last week. So let's see what happens there.
We'll see about that. Let's talk Raiders here. You and John Gruden know each other very well, working together very closely for 7 years. Raider fans out there want to hear from you, Mike Tirico, to sort of reassure them that this whole one-win situation will be going away sometime soon.
I'll be candid. It's a bummer. We park our objectivity when it's friends at times because you're not on the air talking about it. But I still want to see John do well out there, and I think he will. It's been a tough road, no doubt about it. But I think when he got in there, he realized that was not a team that was as close to winning as maybe everyone thought it was on the outside. So they've gone down this route. They have 5 first-round picks they're sitting on here for the next couple of years. Yep. The move to Vegas will be a chance to kind of re-energize this thing. I remember the Seahawks a couple of years ago. Now it's 10 years ago. When everybody came in, John Schneider and Pete Carroll, they brought in everybody.
Shook up everything.
I mean, they
200 transactions before the August.
Exactly. I mean, SeaTac led the world.
That was it.
You look like an NFL player.
Come in.
Right.
Come on in.
Revolving door.
And that's where
until it worked.
That's where they found the core.
Yeah.
Exactly. And now I think they're going to try to do that here with the Raiders. It's tough to see a friend who's been dying to get back into football go through this stretch, but
criticism warranted. I mean, he got paid a ton of money. You know, you got to be open for it. He did it for so long.
Look, any of us who do anything in the public eye know that we're one Traeger tweet away from being criticized. Right?
Oh my gosh, my nightmare.
And then when Traeger does it, forget about it. That's next level.
Can't wait for that. Carries a lot of weight. Right?
It's just it's the reality of all, and I think everybody understands that. John's a big boy. He knows what the game's all about.
You're the play-by-play voice for this weekend's Notre Dame game. They're playing Syracuse. This one has obviously special meaning for you as Syracuse alum, but also do the Notre Dame games for NBC. It's being played in Yankee Stadium. Give us a little preview of this and where you stand as the play-by-play caller, having all these obligations and these responsibilities, but also this loyalty in your heart.
Yeah, I'll make everybody mad, so that's fine. You know, no matter what I say, somebody will be like, you're going against us. Yes. It's all good.
Perfect.
That's fine. Right? It's Traeger tweeting. This is great for me. I grew up in New York. I grew up here.
Yeah.
So to call a football game at Yankee Stadium,
cool
they're so rare, and you never think you're going to get a chance to do it. And then it's Notre Dame, a team that we have on NBC all the time, and they're 10-0 and having a great season. It's so much of Notre Dame's football history, like the win one for the Gipper speech, or the Four Horsemen, Notre Dame games at Yankee Stadium back in the day.
Wow.
When they played Army, so much of Notre Dame's football history is encapsulated in the old Army Notre Dame series at the stadium. So you get that, and then like you said, not only is it the school that I grew up at and love dearly, but they are also having their best football season in 20 years. They haven't been ranked this high in 20 years. And there are, thanks to the SEC, by the way, there are no other good games in college football.
This is it.
This is Saturday afternoon. So we've got by far the best game and a terrific set.
Alabama's playing Tallahassee Tech this weekend, so you're good.
It's incredible.
I like him in that game.
It'll be a blast in a great way. You know, the Thursday night game was good. A bunch of, hey, good luck to all the kids out there playing high school state playoff games tonight. Right? Like Friday night's a big high school playoff night. And then great game Saturday, and we'll see you for Sunday Night Football, and then wrap it up with the Chiefs and the Rams. A good week this week.
Got me fired up, Mike.
You're the man.
Where do you guys move to next week? You guys are...
We're going down to Jersey or Queens. I don't remember which one it is.
Machu Picchu, have you heard of
That's
it?
what it is, yeah.
Is that what the next road show is?
Right.
Sign me up. I'll come read a highlight for you.
Thank you,
Mike Tirico, thanks for stopping by.
Awesome.
Great being with you guys. Hey, you know, I get to be with him.
We're doing a game together.
Yes.
Wow. We've got a couple NFL networks.
He's got a long rider, Peter Strager. Just so there's a lot of
Make sure the
demands.
green M&Ms are ready.
Come on now.
What's on Peter
deal?
Strager's
What isn't it? A lot of iced coffee, a lot of ice.
A lot of hot sauce.
A lot of that hot sauce.
Does he get his own green room, or will he mix with...
No.
He likes
Or like his
elbows.
own Jerry
Little bit of
World
both.
size green.
Just talk to my agent, and we'll figure it all out after.
Really looking forward to that now.
Yeah, I can tell, right?
Mike Tirico, everybody. Gotta love it. We wish you could stay with us the whole show. We're looking at Rap Sheet on the Twitter machine, joining us with all the latest and greatest, showing you highlights from Seattle's win over Green Bay. But Jimmy Graham did leave last night's game late in the second half. What more can you tell us about his hand injury?
This is a concerning one, Kay, and of course, the way the Packers are, an uphill battle now to make the playoffs and salvage their season, they need all of their playmakers, and it certainly seems like they're not going to have Jimmy Graham for the foreseeable future. Colleague Mike Silver reports the fear about Jimmy Graham's thumb injury, which you're seeing right here, got engaged with the defender and seemed to either jam it or dislocate it, is something that they believe is serious. He's going to have some tests today, obviously. You see him going to the locker room right there. But it is possible, I would say it is likely, that the Packers do not have Jimmy Graham going forward.
And we saw that Chargers DN Joey Bosa return to practice on a limited basis Wednesday. I think we all want to know, is he going to play Sunday against the Broncos? Will they plug him right in or unplug this Charger like your battery's full?
Well, I think they'd like to plug him in and just put him in the lineup and just see what he can do. And it does sound like the first couple practices, Nate, went as well as you could possibly imagine. Remember, this is a guy who has not played football at all since August. I believe August 8th was the last time he was on the field. No practices in pads this week, so haven't been able to get fully acclimated. That being said, despite everyone saying he's going to need time to get in football shape, we're going to be cautious, once you get him out there, once the coaches see him act and look like the Joey Bosa that they know and love, I wouldn't write off the possibility of him being out there on Sunday. It is something we actually could see, believe it or not.
Some good injury news for the LA Chargers. What a world we live in. Let's move on to the Ravens. Speaking of injuries, not one but two of their quarterbacks are on the injury report just yesterday. What is the latest? They've got the Bengals this week. Who's the quarterback?
Yesterday, RG3 was the quarterback. The only quarterback that they had in practice. He took all of the reps, something that he tweeted later in the day he really can't remember doing. So here's what we know. RG3 right now is at the least preparing like he's the starter. Joe Flacco's got that hip injury, was not able to practice Wednesday or Thursday. See if he can get out there today. My understanding is if he practices, he is going to be able to play. Could also play, by the way, if he doesn't practice, although that would be less likely. Lamar Jackson didn't practice either because of a stomach ailment. So if Lamar Jackson's going to get significant playing time on Sunday, he's going to have to do it without practicing all week. So what does that mean? That we are probably going to see a lot of RG3 in his comeback in the NFL on Sunday.
Wow. That's sort of wild. Ian Rappaport, we thank you. We'll talk to you a little bit later on in the show and throughout the weekend getting set. I'm just letting that soak in because we know that RG3 guys took snaps with the first team, right? They want Flacco to get healthy and that to happen. So the question I guess I have for you guys, if you were Jim Harbaugh, do you start John Harbaugh, do you start Lamar Jackson at this point in the season regardless of whether or not Flacco's good to go?
Well, if he's ill, you don't want to put him out there on the field. And if Flacco has a hip and Lamar Jackson is dealing with an illness and he's not practicing, you want to throw him out there, especially for him making his first start. And this is the future of your organization. There is no but. I would say put RG3 in. RG3 has been sitting back, patiently waiting. You mentioned it before we went to the news hit that this is a former first rounder who stole our hearts when he was in Washington. And for a guy who's sitting in limbo between who has been the franchise quarterback in Joe Flacco and who is the future in Lamar Jackson, he's just waiting for his opportunity. And I wouldn't be surprised if RG3 starts this game and has himself a good one.
It's amazing because I hear from a lot of Ravens fans begging for Lamar, begging for Lamar, begging for Lamar. And if John Harbaugh's seat is actually hot, as people have been indicating with every loss they get, if you're a coach and you've won a Super Bowl with a guy and you've been with him for 10 years, and when the going gets rough, what do you want? Do you want him to scrap you and go with an untested rookie? To me, if I'm John Harbaugh, and the best chance to win is the guy who outplays everyone in practice, I'm still going Flacco if he's healthy. I'm going to ride that horse until I can ride it no more. Flacco was my guy. Flacco is my guy. Flacco won the job in the summer. Flacco's been the best one in practice. You still use Lamar Jackson. You still use RG3. But if Flacco's healthy, you know, if this is it, I'm going down with my guy. I'm in the foxhole with him. That's how I look at it.
Feels like violins on the Titanic. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl a long time ago. Joe Flacco is 1-4 in his last 5 starts. He has 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and another 4 they haven't made the playoffs in 4 years. I respect the relationship. If I'm John Harbaugh and 1 year from now in September I'm out of a job and I got let go, I could not live with myself if I got fired and didn't try Lamar, didn't try something, didn't try everything I could possibly do.
That's fair.
Here's the thing when you win a Super Bowl. It's kind of like in a video game when you get armor or you get a force field. It protects you for a long time, and then it wears down, wears down, wears down. That's gone. There's no time for relationships.
But if he was ready, wouldn't they have put him in already? All the other rookie quarterbacks outdid the
He's
veterans.
banged up now.
Banged up or not, he would have been starting already by this point.
Peter,
So
we've seen
something
a lot
tells
of
me-
guys who don't look great in practice, and they come on, and the athletic ability takes over, and they light it up. Don't you think Baltimore needs the defibrillators? It's the same old thing. We had the conversation last year. We'll have it again next year. I think they need a lightning strike. Flacco, you can be loyal to a fault, and it becomes the definition of insanity type stuff. Flacco's going to save us. It's been 4 years.
I'm surprised you have this mindset because you're always the one on this show that says
Throw the kid.
throw in the kid. And so what's the deal?
Because I feel like the kid would have been thrown in already if he had been outshining the veteran in
You could have
practice.
said that about Patrick Mahomes last year at any given point when Alex Smith had a bad game, or
I
he was.
didn't think Mahomes necessarily needed to go in for. They were winning games, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
to me, if they're still riding with Flacco and Flacco's still the guy in practice and the one outplaying Lamar, to just throw in Lamar at a wish and a hope, it seems like it's imprudent.
You think Flacco's going to flip the switch? I know the fable of Joe Flacco. I get it. I feel like John Harbaugh is going to be loyal to Flacco all the way to 8-8 and all the way to unemployment. I don't want to see that to him. I want the lightning strike.
Well, we'll see how it turns out. We'll have Ian Rappaport with us all weekend long leading up to that game, leading up to the entire slate of action on Sunday. But start your Sunday, by the way, right here on NFL Network.
Love it.
Or on First. And the hot take, least sexy music is this Kenny G.
You think it's elevator music?
It's if you like root canals, then
I'm
like,
from Seattle. I love
that's
Kenny G.
going. I'm just saying that it sounds to me like, well, you said it yesterday, dentist music,
So
which
what's
I love.
What's the good stuff? Is it acoustic
Dentist
guitar,
music, which I
David
love.
Gray, you know?
Justin Bieber?
I'll get you something.
All right, cool.
I'll get you something on the break. But let's talk VIPs. What kind of music is playing in the club for these special players in Week 11? Who's on the list? Who's on the list straight to the bar?
I'm looking at the Houston Texans versus the Redskins. And this is a big game, and the VIP is very important person, very important player. For the Texans, Deshaun Watson, he was that last year. He was the most important person on the field, and then he went down. And he went down actually after his bye up against Seattle. Now we see him again after a bye, and he's playing against the Redskins. I want to remind you what he did last year after a bye. He's playing Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. He had 402 yards and 4 TDs. So that right there shows you that the young man knows how to bounce back after having a week off. This is big because over the last 3 games, 12 TD passes, just 4 interceptions. So he's playing unbelievable at a high level. In the beginning of the season, struggled a little bit, forcing the issue, still getting his rhythm, knocking the rust off after that ACL went down last year. I'm looking at Deshaun to kind of pick up where he left off. Because it seems like forever where we haven't seen that big-time highlight game. So he's going to have a great game in the air. Picking up Demaryius Thomas was huge for this offense. DeAndre Hopkins still playing at a phenomenal rate. And DeAndre Hopkins is starting to use his legs again. It's a little bit gun-shy. After you have an ACL, I know what that's like. Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry. What I said, DeAndre Hopkins. After tearing my ACL, it took me a while, almost 6 months before I can sit back, make a move, and say, Nate, you're good. I guarantee while we're watching Deshaun Watson that he's going to have that moment where he breaks out of the scrum of the huddle and he's going to look better than ever.
There was a cool VIP field at the entering of this thing, and I think when I think VIP and I think Velvet Rope, I think Deshaun Watson makes the cut, but I also think another young cat in the league. I think Patrick Mahomes is getting in that club, and I think we're going to open that Velvet Rope because Len Dawson had the Chiefs' single-season record for touchdown passes heading into the season with 30, and guess who already has beaten it only 10 weeks into the season? This guy.
Smoking a cigarette at halftime?
He's got a Cohiba in the back, and this is unbelievable what Patrick Mahomes is doing. And now it's, to me, the biggest game of the season. I know the Patriots one was kind of the national coming out party because it was Sunday night in New England at Foxborough. But when you were a Monday night game against another team that has an 8-1 record and everyone is watching and all eyes are on you, you need to shine. I think Patrick Mahomes going into L.A., really the crowning game for him, this is his opportunity. And this is his opportunity to crystallize not only that he is the future face of the NFL, which I do believe he is, that he is the MVP of the freaking league. Everyone talks about Drew Brees, especially off the last 2 weeks that he has had. But I'm telling you, Mahomes is putting up numbers. He still leads the league in passing yards, still leads the league in passing touchdowns. His team still has 1 loss. And oh yeah, my man puts ketchup on a steak.
I love it.
And I'm cool with it. If Patrick Mahomes says, I like dirt on my turkey, I'm okay if you throw 31 touchdown passes.
That's right.
This is the guy right now. He says he eats ketchup on his steak. I'm fine with it. He says he eats ketchup on his macaroni and cheese.
Fine.
Fine. Whatever works. Patrick, I'm going to not worry about it. This kid has it all going on, and I feel like we don't appreciate enough just how good a season he's having. Patty Mahomes, ketchup and all.
So he's not bringing the ketchup with him to the club. They just serve it there.
They have it there. It's on,
That's
on
his bottle
ice.
service.
It's on ice. But
This is the bottle service?
the flames,
yes.
everything.
Wow, he gets the ace of sparklers.
He's got a bottle girl. She just comes out with ketchup.
Amazing.
Are you next, sir?
Sure. I used to have a clubbing phase back in my 20s, and I remember I used to like when the huge celebrity, like the bad dude, walks in the club. I remember as a club once, Jamie Foxx walked in, right in the Collateral era, you know, when he was doing Breaking Out, and everybody looked, everybody turned. He had this black Ferrari that he pulled up, and it was so, like there was like a whoosh in the club. And I'm looking this weekend at Bears-Vikings. We know that Kirk Cousins, I've said it a million times, is a great dad. Well, he's going up against a bad mother, and his name is Khalil Mack. Do we want to see the Khalil Mack play again?
Yes, one more time.
Do we want to? Look out! Matt Stafford, look out. This is early in the game. And Mack gets him again. Guys, he shows every... They're calling him Saki Chan in the locker room.
You know what that is? That's hitting every button on the joystick.
Just buttons, and they all work.
Hey, Saki Chan.
Saki Chan, that's it. Shanghai noon.
Hey, it's rush hour.
Listen, Peter went on this whole monologue earlier in the week about Kirk Cousins. This is why they pay you that money, to win these games, this game. Khalil Mack, this is why they trade 2 first-round picks. It ain't to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
It is to win the NFC North. This is your game. Mitch is going to have to do some Mitch things, but I'm looking at number 52, baddest man in the club. Go get Cousins.
Love it.
Man, I'll put another quarterback in the club. We're going to
Okay.
put QBs in week 11 in there, and it's Carson Wentz, because what makes you think of clubbing?
Big club guy.
Other than
Club soda.
Eagles quarterback. I'm looking at the Eagles secondary, the defense, all of the injuries. They're banged up. He is going to have to put this team on his back, go into New Orleans, and out-duel Drew Brees. That's it. That's what it's going to take to save his team, to turn it around. But imagine if he can do it. If they can go in there and get that done, that is huge. You've got the Redskins taking on the Texans. They might fall because the Texans are so on fire. And the Redskins are decimated by injuries. They don't play the Redskins once, by the way. They get them twice for the rest of the season. I think this is the pivotal moment, the turnaround game. And if you look at Carson's numbers and his production, like he is having a better year than he had to start last year in what was an MVP season until the injuries, averaging over 300 yards a game. He only has 3 interceptions. This is one of those put the team on my back, do it by myself. And I feel like that statement win on the road in the Dome for them would be huge.
Okay, you saying he's going to shock the world?
I'm actually not saying that. But I'm saying that this is the moment.
That's when he needs to.
I feel like he can rise to the occasion.
I do too.
He's looked incredible. It's not really been him. I know it's a tall order. This is the game up against New
Needs
Orleans.
help, right?
I do have some news. A certain brand of ketchup is giving away free bottles of ketchup if he throws for 57
Really?
touchdowns. Lifetime supply.
Do they have that many varieties?
They have 57, and I'm not
Get
going to
out of here.
Let's go to the club.
Have to do with the Steelers place?
Maybe.
They made Alvin Kamara his own airhead.
Yeah.
Put to you, of course, with the Seahawks beating the Packers. And we've got highlights and stuff coming up, but let's check in with our dude, Will the Thrill Silva. Will, I feel like we haven't talked too much today. What's going on?
I know. Listen, Mike Tirico on the show. How great was that? Guy is a pro. Cool dude. How awesome is that? Peter had his...
It was kind of weird. We're like,
ketchup.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then Peter had his Mahomes ketchup bottle. That was a highlight, too. The two-point conversing with Nate and Peter, that was spirited. Great. I like that. Yeah, and Trey Burton, oh, by the way, was fantastic as well. So there's your encapsulation of the show if you have not seen it.
That was well done. All right, thanks, Will.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, guys.
Thank you for that Yelp review.
All right, take care, everybody. Oh, wait, that's right.
Will.
Okay. Yeah.
Will, I must say this, though. When you missed a little bit of time, I don't know if it was just me, but a ton of people asked me, where is Will at?
You're worried, Will.
Seriously.
Will?
People were like, where's Will? Where's Will? So you always make a great impact on the show, man. You were missed.
All right. I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate that Friday love here. But we do have some news to give you. Last week, wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. went out on a limb and said the then 1-7 Giants could win out and finish the season 9-7 and have a shot at the playoffs. Remember he said that? He did. Well, step one accomplished when New York beat the Niners on Monday Night Football. When he made those comments, OBJ says he heard a lot of chuckles. Well, after his 2 TD performance to help push New York's record at 2-7, Odell still has his sights set on a February trip to Atlanta.
Same thing I say before the season, it goes to win a Super Bowl. It's always going to be to win a Super Bowl. If you're just here to have fun or whatever else, I don't know. I don't think you should be here. The goal is to win every game. I'm trying to win. If we play 16, I'm trying to win 16. Win the 4 in the playoffs, win the Super Bowl. You never want to lose. So my mentality is going to be to win these last 7 games, no matter who believes it or what's said or anything like that. That's going to be my goal.
Well, Redskins running back Adrian Peterson is averaging a little more than 93 scrimmage yards a game this season, but he says he hasn't even been at his best yet. He says last week was the first time he started feeling all the way healthy. He added his shoulder and ankle are feeling pretty good, and he feels refreshed. Scared to think what lies ahead the rest of the season for Peterson. Well, after last week's game, Redskins corner Josh Norman very critical of Washington fans and their treatment of the team at FedEx Field. Norman putting his money where his mouth is, purchasing tickets to Sunday's game against the Texans that he says he will pass out to fans, and he wants to hear the cheers.
Whoever get them, want them loud and just obnoxious, just really obnoxious.
Do they get parking with the tickets, or are we pushing it?
See now, the whole parking and paying for the food and the beer and beverages. The thing is, if I had it, I would give it to you. But no, I just, the tickets, that's the biggest thing. Shoot, everyone's complaining about how much the tickets are, so I'm going to take that out from you, at least 40 to 50 people. But no, it's going to be a fun time we're going to have. But beer and beverages, and whatever else that comes with it, that's on you. You just need your voice. I'm paying for your voice. How about that?
Good point. You can't pay for everything, but he is actually offering out those tickets now. So to all of you there in studio, is all forgiven? Is everything okay? Now the ambiance there at FedEx Field is all good? What do you guys think?
Listen, Josh, don't give up 200 yards to DeAndre Hopkins and you'll be fine, all right? So, they're going to boo the hell out of him. You can buy as many tickets as you want. They probably should.
Paying for their voices. You don't say what kind of voices or what they're going to do with their voices.
Boos are loud. Yeah.
That is the disclaimer. Great stuff from Will Selva, as always. And we're back here in studio. Keep it here on NFL Network, leading up to what Mike Tirico called an incredible game-filled, fun-filled day of action on Sunday. But you have on NFL Network your very own show.
It's crazy.
It is your show.
It's the other woman. 6 o'clock tonight, the Kyle Brandt Football Experience, right here on NFL Network. It's a fun show tonight. I'm going to talk about, are the Cowboys for real or are they an infomercial? We're going to have Vikings-Bears. What do they have to do with Guns N' Roses? Why are the Redskins in a rivalry with Tim Riggins? We're going to have The Miz, former WWE champion of the world, coming in. And I actually had to check if I can even promote this. We have someone very special in that Chiefs-Rams game who is integral to both teams. I got the green light to promote it. We are having on the show tonight Peter Schrager. Peter Schrager is coming on the show, making his debut. I can't talk Chiefs-Rams without Pete Schrags. Are you ready?
That's it. I can't wait to talk about it. Kyle is my first time on the Kyle Brandt Experience. I can't wait. 6 p.m. Eastern, NFL Network.
Schrags, hey, listen, it's a privilege, man. It's like hosting SNL. I did it. I was there, man. Hey, welcome to the family, man.
Thank you. Cool.
Don't freeze up, okay?
Jonah Hill passing a torch to Idris Elba or something. All right.
You're my Paul Simon.
That's it.
It's going to be fun tonight.
And Mike The Miz, no joke, a huge, crazy, diehard football fan. I played in a fantasy league with him.
Yeah.
It means business.
Massive Cleveland Browns fan.
Yes.
He's got Survivor Series coming up.
We were talking about it. He was a good wrestler?
Peter, he had the strap. He was the champion, like the Undertaker. Hulk Hogan. Get the strap. He's going to be talking Browns. He's going to be talking NFC, everything. He's going to hit. He's crazy. I love Mike. I go way back with him. True story, 7 Strangers, all that stuff. He's a good guy.
Love that. Can't wait to see it. It's on at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on NFL Network. Coming up, he's taking on the Titans. So much goodness being done. Last time we checked this, I think $10,000 is already raised.
Awesome.
In about 20 minutes. Unbelievable. Keep tweeting #salute to service. The NFL giving all of this money to its nonprofit military partners. Incredible stuff. More information on how to put that to good use at NFL.com/salute.
We try to give you original content here. Case in point, we do a segment here no one else does where people on television predict the outcomes of games before they happen. You can only get that here. Don't steal it. We have a special segment. It's called our GMFB, grass-fed, corn-fed, whatever it is, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Let me get right to it. We each have one pick for the weekend, and I am looking at the Colts versus the Titans.
Okay.
Quarterback's playing better than Andrew Luck right now. Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees. That's the list. That's it. The Colts have not lost a game in over a month. Andrew Luck has never, ever lost to the Titans. He was there for Whitehurst and Fitzpatrick and Hasselbeck and Mettenberger and Locker and, yes, Marcus Mariota. Frank Reich started 1-5. Everybody counted you out. Frank Reich's entire life has started 1-5. Back up in college, back up in the pros. He was the Colts' backup choice for head coach even. And look what's happened. He flips the switch. I believe in the Colts. I believe in Luck. Luck will have a monster game. And yes, 2 weeks from now, we'll be talking about Andrew Luck in the MVP conversation. And that is why I am giving the Indianapolis Colts for my...
You're so angry about it.
100% grade A grass-fed top choice pigskin picks of the week.
What is that? Boom. Improvising here. Just doing whatever.
It was great. You can't even hear what the thing is when you're making those noises.
It was great. Fire emoji. We've never in the history of our wonderful segment had opposite sides of the same game. And yet, here we go.
Really?
Tennessee Titans have the #1 ranked defense in the entire NFL. They just shut down the New England Patriots with ease last week. They beat the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, the week before that. And I've seen them beat the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles in their own building. They take on an Indianapolis Colts team that is not ready for prime time. The Titans are. They are a playoff team from last year. They are a divisional qualifier from last year. And quite frankly, we don't respect the Tennessee Titans enough. So I am taking the Tennessee Titans over Kyle's Indianapolis Colts for my...
GMFB certified.
We gotta fight fire with fire. Get out of
here. Picks of the week.
We've added a bass guitar to this thing.
Yeah.
Kind of off.
That Austin Eckler?
It wasn't there last week, right?
That wasn't there.
Yingwei Malmsteen. I
That
love
was
it.
They
What do you guys
added
got?
that. That is crazy that that's the first time. I feel like you guys should make a little pigskin.
We should.
Sounds like a party.
risky.
Loser goes ketchup everywhere.
Maybe you guys should do that on the Kyle Brent Experience at 6 p.m.
Hey, there you go.
NFL Network. Go ahead and do that. I will talk Eagles here. I said Carson Wentz is the guy who is a VIP, a very important person in Week 11 because he has to put the world on his shoulders and out-duel Drew Brees. The Eagles have a bottom 10 pass defense, and that was before Ronald Darby had his injury. This is a team that secondary is not going to stop the Saints. You can't do it, especially in the Dome. The firepower is just too much, and so I will go easily with the Saints over the Eagles for my...
GMFB certified. 100% grade A grass-fed top choice pigskin picks of the week.
All right. Well, let me go here. You guys remember last week?
the guitar.
Remember last week when the Panthers got smacked up by the Steelers?
Yeah.
They went out there, they couldn't handle the cold weather. It seemed like the Avengers were the Steelers and Big Ben was the Winter Soldier. And I'm looking at the Panthers like, are y'all Black Panther or y'all Whack Panther? Like, what is this? What kind of defense is this?
Good,
but they're going to bounce back, though. You get smacked up, and you're going to go up against my Lions, who, quite frankly, are struggling. So that's why I'm going with the Carolina Panthers over the Lions for my flame on.
Flame on, give me that flame. I'll give me that flame.
Grade A
Thanks, we want some boneless buffalo
choice pigskin picks of the week.
Appetizers free till 6.
$3 apps.
Get the ketchup.
Get the ketchup on everything. Ketchup soda.
Those are our pigskin picks of the week. If you have one to add, go ahead and do it. #GMFB.